Losing Sucks live mock draft tonight. We've got 12 of our closest friends on Twitter who have reserved a spot in this mock draft. It's one of our final mock draft episodes. We're bringing the energy tonight. We've got a 12-team, single quarterback, half PPR league. Dustin will be going from the 1 spot. I will be going from the 3. Like I said, we've got other members of the Losing Sucks team in this draft, so there will be a lot of smack talk going back and forth. And I think Dustin is going to shake up the draft with a little bit of a different strategy, so he says. We'll see if he passes on his guys. Dustin, how's it going? We got back from the Hall of Fame Fantasy Football Expo on Sunday night. How have you been this week? Are you excited for the Bears tonight?
So I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Appreciate you asking. That was an awesome trip, a wonderful experience at the Fantasy Football Expo. Met a lot of industry folks. Man, learned a bunch of stuff. Got to really talk and know people because, as you know, people are much different in person than they are on the internet. A lot of pleasant people, man. A lot of pleasant people. I was shocked, actually putting faces to names, voices to names. Met our guy Coach Bruce out there. Got to meet, Patrick Pucci. Met a whole bunch of people out there.
Superstars.
And superstars, guys. We've been interacting with from day one. Coming back, I'm tired. Had a long week. Jumped right back into the whole rigmarole of actually having a life and doing fantasy football. We've got a lot of exciting stuff that we're working on. So, the grind never stops. But, man, I'm feeling good. I'm ready for a mock draft, ready for the 101. I'm going to shake it up, man. Shake it up.
Yeah, right.
I got the Bears on my mind. We've got Seattle in a very, very meaningful second preseason game. It's a lot at stake here. I don't know if you've heard, but people are betting on these, so pocketbooks are going to get a lot lighter.
I am not. However, the betting that I have done are the $3 best balls on Underdog. And let's just say the star running backs are starting to really fall come draft season. People are buying into the zero RB. I think they've been listening to Jacob way too much. And therefore, we are getting Mixon and Najee and crew to start the second round, which is unbelievable.
Wild.
I hope that happens tonight.
It's crazy.
Fantasy never stops at Losing Sucks. Yes, we're back to work. It is reality. But I think we spend as much, if not more time talking fantasy than our real job. Probably most people in this 12-team draft do the same. So with that being said, let's kick this thing off. We've got 13 rounds, and it'll go back and forth. And by the time you blink, Travis and Dustin will have shown you how to draft.
That's right.
Hopefully
School's in
we've
session.
got green dots. We're missing a few. When I hit start draft, we're going. Are we ready?
Let's go ahead and turn it on. Get this thing rolling.
All right. 3, 2, 1. We are underway. Dismo is on the clock.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So I'm here at the 101, and I look at the board, and what a surprise, Justin Fields is still on the board. Oh my goodness.
You didn't go with the Fields jersey tonight, even on game night.
No, going with the classic. It's Gale Sayers tonight, coming back from the Hall of Fame. So it's no shocker. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey here.
Great choice.
Thank you.
Great choice. Best player in the world, to put it frankly. I've never seen Jacob at the 2 spot, so I'm excited to see. Does he pass on Taylor? Does he force himself to draft a running back and change everything we know about his identity?
Well,
are you getting a double beep here, or is that just my
I
headphones?
am going to turn off the beeping on the draft. How about that? How about I act like I've done this before?
Oh, he joins and goes auto, and Austin Eckler is the number 2 player off the board. Look who falls into my lap. Somebody was saying
Cooper
something in the group chat earlier tonight about it feels like Christmas season, which is true. I feel like we're mocking every day, all day. And what a better way to start this one than with Jonathan Taylor at the 3.
Oh, man.
Tough call.
It is a tough call. It is a very tough call. I don't envy the choice. with that being said, Justin Jefferson goes off the board this first round. So can we talk about this first round? Because you know what? Just a little bit of a peek into the lives of Travis and Dustin. We have our home league draft.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Little Giants League, and that is on Sunday. We have our keepers input since last Sunday. Everybody knows who some people are keeping, or in this instance, Travis, this year, who's not being kept. One team decided
Superstars available.
not to keep a player. So we're here, first round. I don't want to reveal my secrets for this draft coming up. So I'm gonna try and keep my strategies to myself for that draft. I'm gonna give a couple days actually, and then coming back next week, I want to let the people know how it really went down.
So the way our home draft works is you get to keep one player. They cost you the round draft pick where they are currently ranked in the Consensus Pro ranks. My choice has been made. It is Travis Kelce being kept in the second round. Dustin is keeping Travis Etienne. It's only costing him a fourth round pick. And Dustin drafts at the 8. I'm at the 9 spot. So there's a group of 2 or 3 guys. My entire draft, basically, my plan will change depending on who Dustin takes right before me, and then we'll go from there. But I think this back-to-back years that we have been right next to each other in the draft, and the sniping is just everybody's having a great time. We're sitting there sweating.
Yeah, this league has gotten better and better each year. But going back to back is painful with you because I know who you like, you know who I like. There's no secrets really. It's just if I want this guy, I know I have to take him around early, otherwise Travis will take him.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a lot of back and forth. But back to the matter at hand, Travis. The usual suspects go in the first round. No real surprises.
Alvin Kamara finally is in the first.
Back up at the 111. Welcome back to the first round, sir. Nice to have you. Travis Kelce at the 2-1. And we're back to the Kamara team. Looks like we have another little bit of a timeout with Aaron Jones. 2 guys that are very similar roles this year, most likely, in Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara. I don't mind that start. Devontae Adams, someone super interesting to me.
He shouldn't be so polarizing. I still think is the best receiver in the world, and yes, he doesn't have Rodgers, but it's Devontae Adams, and his quarterback is plenty good. I am fine with Devontae Adams to start the second. Alvin Kamara is the one that has caught my eye so far. And I know we just talked about him, but I am totally fine if you have Kamara just over the Aaron Jones, Mixon, Barkley's. Take him at the end of the first, and take whichever one of those running backs comes back. Alvin Kamara is a game-breaking type running back. Aaron Jones can be too, but I think we'll find a little bit more consistency with Alvin Kamara just because he's not going to be splitting quite as much as Aaron Jones. Looking at the game and seeing Aaron Jones on the sideline at all is something you're not going to feel much with Alvin Kamara. All right.
No, I agree.
I was hoping for CeeDee Lamb here in the second. That is not going to happen. So I will have to pivot real quick. We're running out of time. It's going to be Leonard Fournette. I'm going to lock up both running backs and feel good about the volume from both of these guys.
I really like that. Tyreek Hill goes right after you. You know, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb in the second round as well. Stephon Diggs kind of getting some value there in the mid-second. I'm looking here at this pick, and there are 2 guys that I already know I really like, and I feel like I'm going to take them because I feel like they're values.
I really wish that this clock was a minute long.
I really do. I wish the guy that set up the
draft.
Can
I change this real quick? Can I pause this, or are you not able to do that?
I feel like you might be able to. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not gonna risk losing what we have so far, so we'll keep it.
All right, so we're good. Looking at the rest of the board, I still like my guys. I gotta take my guys.
Yep,
I gotta take my guys.
I don't mind it at all. Puts me in a little bit of a spot here. Deebo Samuel, I don't think he repeats close to what he did last year, but I still think he is an awesome weapon. Um, I'm good at running back here, so I'm going to take Mike Evans. I think has the highest floor and ceiling of the guys on the board right now. So back-to-back bucks for me, the two biggest pieces of that offense to go with Jonathan Taylor.
Right. And for those listening, I took Kyle Pitts and Travis Etienne at the 2-3 turn. It felt icky.
It felt early.
Yeah,
it felt early.
You're not afforded the game of ADP when you are at the turn. You just kind of have to look out over the landscape, pick the guys you like that you do not think will be there. I knew I wanted to have tight end in the first 3-4 rounds. I knew I wanted Travis Etienne. So in a PPR league, that's just kind of where we're at.
D-Mike on the clock, Jamar Chase and Mark Andrews, two guys that could finish at number one at their position. I like what he's doing. There's Deebo Samuel. I feel like mid to late third, Deebo is a gift there too.
For sure.
The amount of touches that he gets and how effective he is with those touches, I feel like Deebo Samuel is electric. With Jamar Chase, that's a nice one too for D-Mike. Jared follows it with James Conner. Do you have Conner over Akers and Montgomery?
Conner over Akers and Montgomery, yes, I do.
It feels bad, but it's probably right.
He's not a sexy pick. Look, he's not. I don't know exactly what to relate him to because he's just the guy that's going to get the job done. He is. I'm trying to think, man. I got nothing, but he is just that. He's not sexy. He's not exciting. You're not going to leave your draft and be like, oh, man, I'm really glad I got James Conner. But what he is going to give you most of the time is a running back 1 week. He'll give you enough volume. There's not really anyone there that I'm really worried about taking his workload. You've got Benjamin there, Darrell Williams, two guys I'm not
totally
super
different
worried
tiers.
about. Exactly. James Conner is the only one that profiles as anyone close to a workhorse back, and he's probably going to be their main goal line option, as we saw last year. Even if he drops back down to 10 touchdowns, I think you're still getting fair value in the third round.
Yeah, a guy that'll touch it 18 to 20 times on an offense like that, you really can't go wrong in the third, especially when you get to start with Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs. No complaints there for Jared Holland. The man knows what he's doing. Ben at the turn here after Higgins, Akers goes DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson. So two DJs there. I've been a little bit down on Deontay Johnson, and it's not the Pickens hype that's been going on. Anybody that listens to the show has heard me say all offseason, I don't think he repeats volume-wise. I think he and Ben had a pretty special connection, although it was only a year or two. I think it's going to be hard to repeat Ben force-feeding the ball to Deontay. But
sure,
he's uber talented. Let's see, what receivers did he take Deontay over? Terry, Sutton, Waddle, DK, Mike. Probably would have gone Mike Williams over Deontay personally, or Allen Robinson, Hollywood Brown. But yeah, they're all in the same tier, so you got to take the guys that you believe in. Maybe he's got some personal history with Deontay too.
Yeah, I don't dislike the Deontay pick, especially PPR. It's someone who has produced in the past. I have questions, and that they've been noted. Mitch Trubisky being on the team, being the main point of concern. But look, the team is well coached. You have Mike Tomlin, who, however he's done it, he has had a winning record every single season he's been a head coach, and I do not think that this team will all of a sudden fall off the face of the earth. It's not like Trubisky is a terrible, terrible quarterback, but he has supported relevant fantasy weapons in the past. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like now all of a sudden Pickens and Deontay Johnson are relevant, or Claypool and someone else. It's the guys on this team that I'm interested in at cost, maybe Najee Harris and Deontay. If he falls a little bit further, it'd make me more comfortable, but I think in the fourth round I could talk myself into it. especially at the turn.
Pat Fryermuth has gotten so cheap too. I'm back in at price for sure. He's going in the teens as far as what round.
He's a late round option.
Hollywood Brown. I was about to say I'm gonna go Hollywood here, but a little snipe action leaves me with Allen Robinson, one of my favorites, my darlings from the offseason. I believe it was
pick.
March, or whenever that trade happened, I said to Dustin, Allen Robinson is a top 15 receiver. Might have been bold, but we're starting to see some bigger sites ranks have Allen Robinson in that 15 to 20 range. So everybody's on board right now.
If you didn't pick him, then I would have picked him. He's rising up my ranks as well.
I like
just
to hear
looking
that.
at other people's situations. I feel like there aren't many better options. There are a couple guys right now that I'm looking at and there goes one of the guys that I was looking at, Brandon Cooks. That doesn't make me feel good.
Jacob with the hammer real quick.
Jacob always with the smart picks right before me, always knows exactly who I want. So I'm going to pivot to a guy I know that I like in the 4th round in DK Metcalf. Say what you want about the offense. DK Metcalf is an alpha receiver and someone that I am not super worried about. After that,
he's getting too cheap. It's getting out of hand, especially on Yahoo. You're getting him in the 7th round right now. You will not be in our home league because he will not go past me.
And then I don't think I can bypass Terry McLaurin in the 5th.
Good with it.
So, look, it's not my favorite build. I honestly overlooked Judy, which is my fault. Didn't have him queued up. That, running a show and doing a draft, sometimes you miss some opportunities. But thank God this is a fake draft, and there's no money involved. All I have to do is look at the board and feel sad later.
All right, I'm going to go Juju here. I was between Juju and Josh Jacobs. Jacobs would have put a little bit more pressure on old D-Mike at the 7 spot, having only one. Maybe he falls to him. But Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Juju, 3 guys that I love. To go with Taylor and Fournette, couldn't be much happier. Dustin, I propose, and to the 12 guys in this league, at the end of the 6th round, we hit the pause button for a minute and analyze what we're seeing as far as team builds, some trends. Just take a quick look at the board for 5 minutes or so. Everybody can grab a drink, and then we will resume for the second half. Anybody in the group chat that is opposed to that, go ahead and say it. You have no power anyway.
A little bit of an intermission upcoming for some quick hitting analysis. I like it.
Especially with a 30-second clock.
Yeah, it goes very fast. We're going to need to fill some time. And I want to analyze some of these teams. I like that because at the end, analyzing a full team, it's a lot, and you're not really in the heat of things. So Josh Jacob just going. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know he's a favorite of D. Mike. And getting through this, a guy that is still on the board, there are a few guys that are still on the board, and it's kind of shocking to me. I will be keeping an eye on a few of these guys as we get closer and closer to the 6th round.
When you get to the 6th and 2 quarterbacks are off the board, you know the guys that you're drafting know what they're doing because home leagues will not look like that. You will not get to the end of the 5th and look at Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray on the board.
Right.
Thank you. I'm walking here. Takes one. Civil Food Fights on Twitter. A great follow. Pat Fryermuth, big fan. He's a big fan. Joni Main on the clock. I see your green dot, so you're here. Let's see what we do here. Cortland Sutton. Dustin, you like Sutton over Judy.
I do.
Kamara, Jones, Akers, Sutton is a nice start to the draft.
That's a really nice start. Even if you go with, that a lot of those are auto picked, and it hurts. It hurts my soul.
The computer knows.
Well, sure. I've seen a few things out there on the interwebs talking about how if you let the computer auto pick, you're just getting the best value in each round, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. One is probably ego.
You take a lot of the fun out of fantasy football if you think that way.
For sure. You want to be the one to make the mistakes, not the computer.
I think Ben was sniped there by whether it
Oof.
was Joni Main or Sleeper. They sniped Bateman from Ben. He pivoted. I'll take another Raven and go Dobbins since I only have Mixon, and it gets really thin really quick. Follows it with
does.
another one of our favorites, Darnell Mooney. Dustin, we're going to be fighting over Bateman, Mooney, Hollywood in our home league. It does not make me happy. One of us will get 2 of them. The other one will get 1.
Yep.
I think I've done about 40 to 50 mock drafts, and I mean on Excel, not on Sleeper. I need
Right.
to start doing them on Sleeper because it's faster, but filling in an Excel spreadsheet with the mind of Dustin right before me, sending it to him, asking him questions, and he gives me literally nothing in return.
Yeah.
So
Good luck,
I
buddy.
don't know what you're going to do, but I have a feeling it's Swift or Chase.
Good luck. Good luck. Because you know what? I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't have any clue. I'm just going to be rolling with the punches
Not buying
as
it.
we are in the 6th round. Wide receiver run happening right before our eyes. And boy, oh boy, what a time to have DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin as your 2 wide receivers. Am I right? It doesn't feel good.
No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
Because-
Neither one of those guys has a floor of a wide receiver 1. If that makes
No.
sense. When you look at Keenan Allen, AJ Brown, Debo, Pittman, Evans, all those guys,
Right.
everybody has a solidified 1. I don't think Metcalf
Yeah.
gets in the top 12.
It doesn't feel good.
But
really
that's the
doesn't.
price of Kyle Pitts. That is the price you pay for who you believe to be an elite tight end. I said you, not
Yeah.
we. So we'll see
Right.
if that's
I
worth
think
a
he
second.
does take the step forward this year, at least a step forward. It might not be into the stratosphere of the tight end 1 overall, but I feel like he is going to be. I look at it as I have 3 wide receivers and I get like a bonus spot because Kyle
Okay.
Pitts will produce as a even if it's a high end wide receiver 2.
That's like
I
keeping
think-
Kelsey in the second. I mean, you're getting Diggs in your flex.
Right.
Rashad Penny for D
Yeah.
Mike. Do you think Rashad Penny in the 6th is because of the hernia surgery, or should he be in the 6th?
I mean, Rashad Penny's already banged up himself, and I have questions about Rashad Penny, as I'm sure a lot of people do. I
Yep.
think I know, D Mike has his processes. He explained on our episode when we interviewed him. He's very sharp, knows his numbers.
Sure does.
He-
All right,
he's
hold
got-
on. 15 seconds here. Real quick.
Yep.
Because Jacob has a quarterback, Hurts or Kyler, one of them will come back. I'm going to go with Miles Sanders here. I still believe in the talent. He is a freak
Wow.
athlete. If he gets hot, I think they feed him plenty. And as a 3rd running back in the 6th, I don't have to worry about running back now for 3 or 4 more rounds and just take the receivers that fall.
As I'm sniped again.
That was your
by-
floor guy right there.
That was my floor guy. It hurts. It hurts a lot. I need to pick one guy, and then we need to pause for some analysis.
Station identification.
Station
D-Mike.
identification. I'm here in the 6th. I'm going to have to I got to do something here. So I'm going to go with my gut here and go with Jalen Hurts.
All right. The draft
And-
has been paused for the moment. Jalen Hurts, I actually really wanted you to take Kyler so that I could get Hurts, but I'm fine with Kyler on the way back here. Unless you go Kyler right here.
I'm going to double tap quarterback in a single quarterback league in the 6th and 7th round and absolutely light this draft on fire.
All right, Dustin,
No.
give me a quick analysis of how you feel about your team. Guys that are in the draft, if you want to give a short paragraph, 1 or 2 sentences of something you would change or what you like about what you've done, we will read them when we get to you. We'll go in order.
Yeah.
Dustin, kick us off.
I'm tired of drafting around Jacob is the analysis here. But also I don't love my team. I'm happy with my guys. My guys are on my team. Travis Etienne, Kyle Pitts. I like Jalen Hurts this year, of course, and Christian McCaffrey. I never have any of him. I think there's some star power here. I think that there is some real upside with the league, but I don't feel safe. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like I have guys on top tier offenses, so it's tough to feel uber confident about it. looking around the league, though, I really like some of the builds that I'm seeing. Jacob has built a really solid team, wide receivers in his flex, and already has all his starters along with Austin Eckler. You've got Mr. Meeseeks, who also follows a similar path, even with Darren Waller, and I like the value on Zeke. I think in the third round, he could easily go in the second, and you'd be justified. So
Yeah.
there are some builds. I think it's going to be fun to see how this develops into the second half of the draft, because like you said earlier in this draft, these guys are sharp. We haven't seen a lot of reaches here. I honestly feel like I might have been doing the worst job out of anyone in this draft. I don't love my team, but
The post-draft projections have Dustin at 3 and 11,
What,
not
3
making
and
the
11?
playoffs. I like the names. My thing with your team is this: it could go right. If it goes right, it
Sure.
could be really fun.
And it's a long draft.
The chances of it going right, I feel like, are smaller than you would like. There's a lot that could go wrong, and it wouldn't take much.
Right.
James
I'll have to hit
Robinson.
on some guys.
James Robinson expected to play by week 1 is crazy news for a man named Etienne.
I hope
But your
it
keeper's locked
pushes
in,
him
so
down.
I like it.
I hope it pushes him down even further in other drafts.
Yeah.
Gonna make him even cheaper. I'm not worried about it. Look, we're a year removed from Travis Etienne being injured. He's finally healthy. He's looked great all camp. You have James Robinson, who has not been actually practicing.
Yes.
He is. Yeah, he's.
Does he come back
Well-
to his? Does he come back to a Zeke Tony Pollard second half of the
No,
season?
100% of the 100% chance.
That,
No,
that was my
it's an
question
Achilles.
of Etienne for the night.
Guys, we have years worth of data.
Yes.
It just throws me through a loop. Like,
That
we're
makes
gonna
me feel
see.
confident that you won't be taking Akers in the third of our home draft because he also had an Achilles.
I'm very much looking forward to you taking him.
Jacob, auto draft started with Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen. A lot of upside there. Could have been worse. I know that's not your style to go running back or quarterback that early, but nice recovery with Brandon Cooks, Jerry Jeudy, Adam Thielen. 3 guys that should get a lot of targets. And I'm curious to see what you do at running back. There's still some names here. I think you're actually okay with Gibson in the 7th. Maybe Damian Harris or Ramondre Stevenson is somebody that you're qualifying as a running back too, which would be fine for your build. Moving on, Coach Trav 3. Got lucky with Taylor at the 103. Fournette, I'm fine with at 2. The receivers are my happy spot right now. Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Juju are 3 guys that I enjoy cheering for and I think are in great spots to succeed. And then Miles Sanders in the 6th. It feels like a reach because industry-wide there's a lot of hate for Miles Sanders. There was a time last year where it was a banged-up Sanders splitting with Gainwell, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard at times. I think we see a lot more of Sanders and Gainwell, and I think Sanders is a better player. Maybe not as good of a receiver, but I think as a pure runner, if that offense gets rolling and he's part of it, I think he starts to get to 60-40, maybe 65. Miles Sanders is a great running back. Mr. Meeseeks. Is that how we say it? Mr. Meeseeks.
Yeah, Mr. Meeseeks. That's a Rick and Morty reference.
Ah, I see. He says he's happy with the roster. Obviously going to have to rotate RB2, but he's okay with it considering the receivers. Let's see if we agree. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Hollywood Brown, Brandon Ayuk. I would have to agree. You probably have the best receiving core in the league so far.
That's solid.
Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Mike Williams might give you a run, but Jefferson, CeeDee, Hollywood, Ayuk is nice. Dustin, you just said Zeke in the 3rd, especially with that kind of build, is really nice value. He's going to have a great floor. Darren Waller in the 5th still grabs an elite tight end. I personally have Waller over Kyle Pitts. So to get him 3 rounds later is incredible value. Great draft so far. Let's see where quarterback and running back depth fill out for you. LeVar.
Darren Waller is a lot like Kyle Pitts, just worse. That's all.
If Kyle Pitts gets anywhere close to prime Waller, what we've seen, healthy Waller, I don't even have to say prime. He's still in his prime. I'll be shocked. Dalvin Cook, Javonte Williams, Elijah Mitchell. Great running back room. A.J. Brown, Gabriel Davis. I don't love Gabriel Davis, but I'm starting to warm up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Herbert in the fourth. It's early in a 12 team, but if you're going to go early, he's one of the guys to do it. Dustin, you can take the next three, and then I'll finish it up with the 9, 10, 11. Or the 10, 11, 12.
Oh, we're just going to break down each team, huh?
Real quick, all the way through.
Oh, goodness.
We're not going to do it after. We'll talk. We'll just finish the core of the team.
So Bruce Wayne. Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, 2 pounders to start the draft for him. And then, of course, I like the value that you get on A.J. Dillon in the 5th. Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, and Drake London round out as wide receivers. That's really, really solid for the 6th spot. D-Mike, of course, going a little bit of a patient running back strategy. Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, Deebo Samuel, his top 3 picks. And then David Montgomery and Rashad Penny. So kind of a fragile running back build, but you know what? He knows his numbers. Let's see if it pays off. And then, of course, the Sun God, as he calls him, Amon-Ra St. Brown on his roster. He's got balance, and he's got upside. I'd really like to see that. And then, of course, J. Red Holland, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. That is a dynamic duo, 2 high-volume, talented receivers on high-powered offenses. That's if you're going to start wide receiver, that's the way you go. James Conner, Josh Jacobs, Clyde Edwards. I don't think I hate it, to be honest with you. It doesn't make me feel good, but it's not my team. Look at my team. I have 2 running backs, and then I have DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin. I am sad. I'm in no place to make this
you
judgment.
Said you
of course.
hate his build. I think the build is fine. I'm not in on Clyde, but I actually like Jacobs.
That's really it. I hate Clyde. I can't
draft him.
I can't pull the trigger on him. But
Josh
Jacobs
in the 5th is good.
I like Josh Jacobs in the 5th, and then Mike Williams. Look, the wide receiver room alone, killer. That upside any
You're winning
week,
a lot of weeks.
You can win games with that. Finish it up, Travis, and we'll continue the draft.
All right, real quick. Eli with a Swift, Barkley, Pittman. I love the first 3. I'm not personally sold on Michael Thomas yet. But Lamar can make up for that. Kittle obviously is in that elite group. The 4th is probably right for Kittle. I personally like to wait one more for Waller, but everybody has their guy. Kittle has won people a lot of championships. So Eli, true to brand, well balanced there. I'm walking here, Mr. Civil Food Fights. Najee Harris, Breece Hall hold down the running back room. Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, and Elijah Moore. I have no issues with that. And Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure how I feel about having 2 Jets. That's the only thing for me. I think getting off to a fast start is very important. Something that we've been saying over the last few weeks. Yeah, and Breece Hall and Elijah Moore coming out of the gate.
Right.
It could be
Joe
rough.
Flacco going to be throwing them some balls. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
The 11th spot we already talked about a little bit. Kamara, Jones, Akers. I like all 3. I know you're out on Akers. I think he's going to be just fine. Sutton and Bateman we love. Godwin, I think the 6 is probably right based on recent reports of him coming back earlier than initially thought. I still don't buy him coming back before week 6 to 8. He could. We definitely won't see the Godwin that we know before those 6 to 8, that window. But
right,
if you're thinking second half of the year and let Kamara, Jones, Akers carry you there, then I like the plan. Finally, Ben, Mixon, and Dobbins. Dobbins was the pivot mid-draft from Bateman. Kelsey, everybody loves. I'm fine with him in the 2nd, obviously. DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Darnell Mooney. I love those 3. You've got upside with those 3 receivers for sure. Deontay, if he resembles last year, even 80%, I really like that receiver room. Dustin, let's kick off this 7th round.
Let's do it.
First pick of the 7th, Kyler Murray to Dustin would be disastrous. Here we go.
All right, so I'm back on the clock. I've had a chance to survey what's around me, what does my team need, and I've decided that I need some upside as well as some positional flexibility, and I'm going to go with Tony Pollard in the 7th round.
Interesting. Tony Pollard over Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, because
he's falling too fast.
he is a stone in a river. He is a large, large stone in a river.
I think it's getting out of hand.
I
it's
think
getting out of hand.
I think he's working airport security now in Washington. As Jacob does pull the trigger on Antonio Gibson, I thought about it, but with Terry McLaurin on my team, I wasn't going to do that to myself.
That's a good call. Grab a little bit of that Cowboys offense.
For sure. There's some upside with Pollard.
There's not a position player here that I feel like I have to have, so it is going to be Kyler Murray for me. I'll take the upside and the floor with the legs. That man runs fast, and he is really fun to watch when he's on your team.
The whiskey toddler himself,
Yep.
Kyler Murray, in the 7th round. I don't hate it.
We got a call out from Jacob for you.
Okay.
Dustin, justify Pollard over Gibson. I need to hear it. Go.
Sure. So it's purely upside. And the role in the offense, I feel like I talked about it last year. I think the role is very similar, if not upgraded this year. I think he's going to see more volume. And I think we're really looking at a more of a pass catcher, Debo Samuel type role where he's going to be structured into the game plan. He's going to be manufactured touches for. So I think there's not going to be weeks where Tony Pollard just goes missing like we saw last year. They need weapons. They have one in Tony Pollard. There's no reason why we can't see them use him like we might see in Green Bay with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So a lot of it I just talked about, though, in that I didn't want Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin.
Okay. I think that's the biggest part of it.
Had I not taken Terry McLaurin, I like upside. And I feel like if I would have taken Antonio Gibson, that would have capped my upside since they can't score touchdowns on the same play.
All right, Ramondre Stevenson over Damian Harris. Are you in that camp over Damian Harris?
I am not the biggest Ramondre Stevenson fan, but the noise is getting very loud.
Yep.
And Damian Harris, look, I feel like it's not that Damian Harris has done anything necessarily wrong, but we talked about it. At least I've said it all offseason. Damian Harris is replaceable. What he does, you can get 40 guys to do exactly what he does. He just runs the ball. He does not catch the ball. Ramondre Stevenson does what Damian Harris does and catches the ball. Okay? He is also a guy that can get 15 touchdowns on the ground and be the running back 15 for you. Damian Harris is expendable now. So
so compare him to the running backs that went right after. Let's include Damian Harris in that group. Do you like him over those guys?
I like him over Devin Singletary. I think Kareem Hunt, Chase Edmonds are guys I would have taken over Ramondre, but I understand the pick and the thought process as, wow, Dameon Pierce going in the 8th round. Talk about hype now. This guy,
it's happening.
Wild.
You're going to start to see this, though, as we get close to real draft season. People see one or two things. All it takes is one or two clips, or maybe they're from Houston and they have watched the game. Right. Real quick, Jacob, we talked, Jacob, Ben, and Dustin and I talked Allen Lazard today. Dustin and Ben and myself are taking the over of 1,000 yards. Jacob is taking the under. $20 bet from all of us. I really don't see a world where Allen Lazard has less than 1,000 yards. I really don't. Good joke there, though. Jacob throwing a punch at Ben, saying he saved him from himself by getting sniped Allen Lazard right before Ben could take him. Ben, that would have been a nice 4th receiver there on that offense for sure.
I like that. Man, it is, looking at this board, it is very difficult. We got some really talented drafters here, and it's making my job miserable. And I think they enjoy it. I really do. I feel like we have people here. I hope they do too, because I am just looking at this and thinking, okay, there are only a couple guys that I really feel like, I mean, we're getting in the 8th, 9th round. I'm really going to have to start. I mean, I have to take some guys that are going to be projected for volume. And you went Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a reach. I don't love anybody here. And I think Tyler Boyd, if something were to happen, is going to be an every week starter. He's not in my lineup right now. We're drafting guys with upside. I think
Yeah.
what we call a wide receiver
Oh
handcuff,
man.
who will I Tyler Boyd over under 850 yards.
Uh,
Probably right at it.
that's probably a really good
Which
line.
at the
I
end of the
hate
eighth,
this.
I'm
Oh,
okay
I
with
hate
it.
this. Okay, I'm gonna hate doing this. This is gonna feel really disgusting.
Don't do Amari Cooper. Oh my gosh.
I don't
You
look.
want Amari Cooper, but I can't force you to take Jacoby Brissett in a super flex 16 teamer. Make it make sense.
We're in the 8th to 9th turn, man. Like,
You
what
got
do
10
want
seconds.
from
You
me?
got 10 seconds. This is
Okay.
happening fast.
Okay, so
I like that
Had-
one. You saved yourself.
I had to get some guaranteed volume. I know these guys. Look, Amari Cooper's gonna see 8 to 10 targets a game. So
Okay.
I think as a wide receiver 3, he's about as safe as I was gonna get to like solid volume. There's a couple guys that I really want to keep an eye on as we get through, but goodness, that didn't feel.
Sky Moore over Treylon Burks is tough for me to swallow. I don't like any rookies, even though Burks is the right pick here. I won't do it. Staying true to myself. Garrett Wilson, I'm scrolling by. Claypool, I don't mind here. The old me would take Ronald Jones here, but I don't feel like it's in my best interest. I'm going to take Darrell Henderson as a 4th running back. I think he gets enough work to be flex-worthy many weeks.
I think we're going to see a lot of quarterbacks coming off the board here. You know, there's guys, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady still on the board. What do you make of the Tom Brady taking time away from the team?
It doesn't mean anything, Dustin. It means nothing.
Are you sure? Are you sure it doesn't mean he's just done with football? He needs a break after 23 years.
People are
he's
just searching
He can't
for
figure
something.
out. He can't figure out how to deal with the media, all the pressure. It's probably the pressure, Trav, that is getting to Tom Brady,
he's
the
always
7-time
struggled with it.
Super Bowl champion. The pressure before the season in the preseason is what's getting to him.
D Mike, you've completely lost me here, and I love you, but you have lost me. From the 6th round on, Rashad Penny, Singletary, another Buffalo Bill, and another Seahawk. You're going to frustrate yourself here, because none of those guys are a clear starter and they're handcuffed. And I don't know who you start each week. I feel like you could start Singletary and Penny, and the other 2 guys score. You put them in the next week, and then the first 2 guys score. I think you're going to have a headache here. I don't love the strategy unless you think there's a clear one there and you're just drafting insurance.
Julio Jones in the 9th round. I love that pick.
Compared to the guys here, he's got the most upside, I think.
All right, so let's compare Julio Jones then to a couple guys, because since we're right here, Julio Jones or Russell Gage, who has the chance for a better season then?
I think Julio will be drafted first in most rounds. I think when all is said and done this year, Russell Gage beats him out by a little bit.
Okay. All right. I'm certainly not in a position where I'm going to argue. I think that another interesting guy and possibly even same upside. We're talking not high volume roles and going to need high value targets. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Julio Jones.
I'm looking at the board here and I see Trey Lance at 105, and we've done a lot of mocks together. Do you think that Hurts in the 6th is worth it as opposed to Lance, let's call it the 9th or 10th? When you've got DeAndre Hopkins, Lazard, Devontae Smith, would you prefer one of those guys and Trey Lance, or Hurts and who you're taking here? Let's say Hurts and Woods.
Sure. That's a good
Hopkins
question.
and Trey Lance, or Hurts and Woods.
That's a really good question. That's tough because I feel like Hurts has, I don't know if better weapons is the way to say it, because I feel like the weapons, if anything, are equal. It's more of a, do I think that Trey Lance is going to run like Jalen Hurts will? And I'm not sure. I don't necessarily
You
know if
you
you
think
will or
Hurts
not.
has more rushing yards than Trey Lance?
It's a possibility.
I've
For
been
sure.
seeing a lot on TikTok and Twitter, people
Mm-hmm.
saying over under Trey Lance around 1,000+ yards
He's
on the
not gonna
ground,
run. I
which
do
is a
not think
lot.
he's not gonna run for 1,000 yards.
But if he's not confident in his arm and it starts to look shaky, he's throwing some picks, they're losing games. It won't take much for him to say, "Screw it, I'm running when I have it. I don't
Sure.
have to show people that I can throw dimes. I'll run the play action. I will take off." I feel like Kaepernick did that for a while. He was, and it's not something that you love to see at the beginning of the year because they go through a
Yeah.
little bit of growing pains. But once they decide to just take off, Hurts did that last year. He's like, "I'm going to
Yeah.
prove I'm a thrower," and it wasn't working. And he said, "Forget it. I'm just rushing for 10 touchdowns or 8, whatever he had." He was like, "I'm just
Yeah.
going to take it myself."
Look, I don't hate it. I really don't. I feel like there is some merit to it. There really is. But looking at their situations, who do I feel like we've already seen that from Jalen Hurts? We've already seen a top, what was he, quarterback? Was he quarterback 8 last year? I
I think
think
6.
6.
I'm going Gainwell
Jalen-
here. Speaking of Eagles, I'll let you touch on Jalen Hurts real quick at the turn. I'm going to go Gainwell, get a little bit of my own insurance. If either one go
Okay.
down, I've got a rock star in Gainwell or Sanders. So
So you're going to handcuff in the
I am.
Philadelphia
I
backfield.
think he has
Okay.
standalone value. I wouldn't mind starting both of those guys. D-Mike started talking about starting Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon on the same team. I think there's weeks where I would be fine, given the matchup, starting
Yeah.
Gainwell and Sanders.
Look, this is money time right now. We are in the money time, and this is where I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. There are guys that I know I like, and one of them being a guy that I expect to have positive touchdown regression and who caught his first career touchdown, Jacoby Myers. He is the one on that team.
I like it.
And you know what? Despite what you've heard, despite everything that you want to listen to, Jacoby Myers is the number one in that offense. And now we're into the time of the draft. I've said it before, Trav, that you throw ADP out the window, especially at the turn, but also when it's your past round 10, you just get guys you think can contribute. And the one guy I've been beating the drum for, and I think he is the guy to have on your roster late in drafts, Isiah Pacheco from Kansas City.
No way. You hate CH, but you love Pacheco.
Exactly. They're not remotely the same players.
Goodness. All right, I am going to go Zach Ertz here. I was hoping, I didn't see Jacob taking a second tight end, so I thought I was safer than I was even. I will go Ertz. I will stack it up with Kyler. I didn't even realize until about 3 minutes ago that I didn't have a tight end because all the mocks I've done, I already have Kelsey and don't even look at him. But that was a gift, I think, in the 11th. Zach Ertz to round out the starting lineup was nice.
For sure. As someone who has only been on pace to be the tight end 4 when he's played with Kyler Murray, I think that's a solid pick. You don't have to worry about, do I have to pick a Albert O or a Hunter Henry or someone else? You've got your guy, and a guy who could very easily, and has done in the past, finishes as a tight end 1, Travis. He's a top 12 tight end.
I just read Spiller as CJ Spiller because I'm looking at the picture of Devin
coming out of
Singletary
retirement at
there,
age
and I
35.
thought D-Mike just went triple Bills running backs. Yes, CJ Spiller has long gone. Raheem Mostert in the 11th. You love to see it. Crowded backfield there. I think Sonny Michel gets more than people want to say. Nobody's talking about it, but Sonny's coming off of a very successful season, and it's a run-first coach. So given the injury history of Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds getting banged up, Sonny Michel could be a nice late sleeper.
A couple things. Brian Robinson this late going in the 11th round look, we're all just kind of prognosticating here, but Brian Robinson, a sentence that should be, ready to fly out of our mouths is Brian Robinson starting running back for the Washington Commanders. We just have to prepare for it because he's receiving rave reviews. He is secure with the ball. He's a guy that doesn't excite you like James Conner, but you know what? He gets the job done. Also, have you seen interviews by Mike McDaniel from Miami, the head coach? He's just such a the dude is like a TV character. It's like he's written so well.
Yes.
And I feel like I just
think
love
he's
watching him interview.
I think he's going to be great there. I really do.
Yeah.
He's a player's coach.
So would you say he is, or would you say that Tua is a top 12 quarterback then because of Mike McDaniel?
No, Tua will be the reason that they don't have the success that they should.
Oh, wow. So you're going to pile on right onto Tua then.
Yes. I have not backed off of that. I will continue to stay on that until he proves me wrong.
Wow. Stay hating.
He sounds like a really nice guy in his interviews.
Sure.
I enjoy the post games when they win. He's in a great mood. I enjoy Tyreek Hill hyping him up and Waddle saying that he's nice. The truth is, you just have to watch him throw, and it tells you everything you need to know. We got Buffalo Bills going off the board in 12th. Ben, that's early. Ben, that is early. Take flyers on handcuffs. Grab a second quarterback.
Goodness.
Did you already do that? Brady? Yeah. Okay, that's your first.
Yeah,
I think you're going to find more value in getting Rodgers or Stafford to go with Brady because one of these rushing quarterbacks goes down, you've got an immediate trade piece compared to the Bills who, again, they start week 1 versus the Rams. You don't even want to play the defense that you drafted in week 1. So I would not draft a defense until the very end of the draft, if at all.
Okay. Fair enough.
Sorry,
well
Ben.
said.
Teaching
just absolutely light Ben on fire.
Learn from my mistakes. I'm like, yes, I got the Rams defense, and they just get torched for the first 6 weeks. Yeah. And you could have had a handcuff that really comes in handy, like Ronald Jones.
Sure. Ronald Jones, yeah, a guy who will be definitely valuable on another team this year. Maybe after someone gets injured, or he is on a Canadian Football League team. He's going to be very valuable in some football league.
Wherever he goes, he's going to smash heads. He's so good. I'm going to take the number 1 receiver. It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to believe that there is a team's wide receiver 1 still on the board.
Oh, goodness.
I'm going to take the number 1 in New England,
if you take
Devontae Parker.
I knew it. Oh, goodness.
I think taking him 2 rounds after Jacoby Myers, they should have similar stat lines. Devontae Parker has a little bit more juice in the body, not age-wise, but I think he's a more physical receiver. I'll take Devontae Parker in the 12th.
Okay, well, that's fine. There is still a potential wide receiver 1 for their team on the board right now, and he's a rookie. And in the 12th, I'm going to take Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants. A lot of people up on Wan'Dale talking about how he's gonna be that guy for them in the slot. The Sterling Shepard just eating up all the targets. He's explosive, and I like the way he plays. Now I'm left with another flyer. I need a guy that can give me some upside. Maybe he provides something that we just don't have out there, and for that, I'm gonna go with Rondale Moore for the Arizona Cardinals.
Did you just go Rondale?
Rondale.
Wow. I was about to say that Wandale sounds like a little kid in Arizona rooting for Rondale who just can't pronounce it yet. And he's like, come on, Wandale. And now you've got Wandale and Rondale. Mm-hmm. So now the kid's cheering for his, and the dad who can pronounce it right gets his.
That's right.
I see what you did there. You're a family man, Dustin.
Yeah, I like to keep it all in the house.
I'm going to go Nico Collins here in the 13th.
Oh, wow.
I like what I see from Nico. I think that's good value. And
sure.
I think I need to find the stat that I saw about a month ago of there was a stretch. Nico Collins was really, really good for the Texans. He was in the groove, and then injury derailed it. So I think he has a firm grasp on the number 2 for Davis Mills.
Interesting.
And again, he's kind of like Tyler Boyd. If something were to happen, Brandon Cooks has not been the healthiest of receivers in his career. So Nico Collins,
one way of putting it.
It does not take much for Nico to be the one there.
I can't get over you burning a pick on Devontae Parker. Are there really people out there that feel like Devontae Parker is going to be the guy in year?
He was fine with Tua, and Tua can't throw.
That was years ago. Was years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and what happened since then? He's been.
If you
awful.
like Mac Jones, like you do,
I do.
then you would think, personally, you have to think Devontae Parker is an 800 to 900 yard guy with 5
No, I
touchdowns.
do not. I do not.
So who? Oh, you're Tyquan Thornton.
I like Jacoby Myers. I like Kendrick Bourne. I mean, Nelson Aguilar is going to be there, but
So you're saying Mac Jones under 4,000 then?
I think he's going to approach it. I don't think he gets there probably this year.
What?
Yeah, I mean, this offense isn't going to be a 45.
4,000 is nothing. He's not a rushing quarterback.
Sure, but I feel like he's going to hit touchdowns. Like he's probably going to hit around 30 touchdowns. And I think it's going to be an efficient offense. I feel like
how many guys hit 4,000 last year?
Oh goodness, how many? I think we had that stat before. Not that many. It wasn't. Yeah, you find it. You find the number as we are finishing up the draft here. Amir Abdullah, Sony Michel, Romeo Dubs.
10 guys.
10 guys. So about
he
a third
missed it by
league.
less than 200 yards.
Okay, so
and
maybe
now
he
gets
does.
Devontae Parker.
Yeah, he'll be good because of Devontae Parker. That's what we're saying. Oh goodness, I'm not taking any sort of flyer or anything on Devontae Parker. The dude's dust. Like, no, thank you. I've heard no buzz about him. Watching him for the last couple of years has been painful.
He's not that guy. You don't need buzz. He just comes to the office, gets his 50 yards and a score.
No, he doesn't.
You went back-to-back short receivers, says D-Mike, with Wandale and Rondale. Actually, is Pacheco, he's pretty short, right? Or is he bigger bodied?
Pacheco is 6 foot.
That's pretty big. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Jameson Williams, Marlon Mack, the last 2 picks. There is a Sonny Michel sighting. I see you. Khalil Herbert in the 12th. I like that pick. We've liked Herbert all off season. Who are some guys in these last 3 rounds that you think have serious potential other than the obvious ones like Madison, McKissick? Sure. Who are some guys that you think were really nice grabs by these guys?
Yeah. So I think just for where they're going, obviously biased, but I love Pacheco. I think he's someone you really, really. I'm putting all my bias aside. If you want a guy who has just as much of an upside in winning a job on a high-powered offense, Isiah Pacheco needs to be on your roster. That is 100% what I'm saying. But other than that, if we just want to focus on running backs, I like some of these picks. Look, getting a guy like George Pickens in the 10th, that's solid value. Russell Gage, Treylon Burks is a guy that I like in the 10th. We've talked about it. We talked about it at the Expo with some really knowledgeable guys. That Treylon Burks is most likely going to get off to a slow start, but then as rookies do, especially wide receivers, catching on about the halfway point, he should be the number 1 option on that team.
I think what you were saying was he's not worth a 6th.
No.
Don't take him in the 6th. Yeah, but the 10th, that's a good call.
Burks in the 10th is stealing.
10-9, almost the 11th.
It's like the media has been really trying to focus on what Treylon's doing wrong and what's going wrong with him, that Treylon is just being pushed down. And I'm not calling him a Jamar Chase or anything like that, but the dude is just so talented and a physical specimen. He's going to be a factor in your fantasy leagues. And look, if I didn't like Jacoby Myers as much as I do, I profile him. He reminds me of a Deontay Johnson type. Treylon Burks is definitely someone I would consider because I don't want to call him A.J. Brown, but he's going to be in a high-powered role. Looking in the last, how many rounds do we want to go out looking at potential? Because you're looking like I like the value in the 8th round of Tyler Lockett. I like the 8th value round.
I like that too.
Of Christian Kirk. You're kind of rolling the dice with a guy like Kadarius Toney, and I feel like now that we know that Michael Thomas is probably going to be on the field week 1, with Jarvis Landry there still healthy, Chris Olave loses some of his luster. But
one thing in the draft that you said when Julio Jones was picked is that you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Which a month ago when he signed, your immediate reaction was outside of top 50. That's injury based. Obviously, you're accounting for him not being there. If he was, let's say he does stay healthy, the receivers that he's going around right now, Wilson, Landry, MVS, Pickens, Gage, Myers, in that offense, with Evans and Godwin and Gage, do you think if everybody's healthy, you can start Julio Jones if you need 10 points? Or
If
would
you
you
need,
prefer Jacoby Myers to get you that 10?
I would prefer Jacoby Myers
I think so too.
because Julio Jones is going to be, you know what, a perfect example. Well, I wouldn't do that to Julio Jones. I was going to compare him to Devontae Parker, but Julio Jones is going to be a guy where you really are not able to predict when he's going to get that touchdown because he's not going to be walking into a volume role. I think he's going to try and fill that Rob Gronkowski-esque type, that big slot, red zone, post corner threat guy who can just go up and get it. And you don't have a better option to throw the ball than Tom Brady. But Julio Jones, Mike Evans is a similar type prospect. Got guys that can also catch it in Chris Godwin. That is a red zone favorite of Tom Brady. Russell Gage, also a guy that can get open and separates very well. I don't think you're gonna have to be able to predict when the touchdowns are going to come. And I don't think that you're gonna have a great time. I think in a pinch, in a flex spot, in a bye week filler, sure. But I don't think, granted, you just got him near the 10th round, so I don't think that's bad value. But you're gonna have a hard time picking when to start. He's going to be very boom or bust.
Yeah, Jared Holland says, as we close this out, before you take us out, Dustin, do you have any final words to Jared, who says, I love how Dustin is, for the most part, just ripping apart my team, going after Julio and CEH, going at their neck, which you did. CEH, you said you hate him, which is a bit strong, but I like the conviction in your voice. I also will not be drafting CH. I don't know that I hate his guts as a human being. Final words, and then take us out.
Let me throw some love back at J-Red because you know what? Getting Hopkins in the 7th and Schultz in the 8th, solid pick. And look, you picked up my man Trey Lance. I have Trey Lance everywhere. And this is my first time that I've actually pulled the trigger this early on a Jalen Hurts. So,
do you regret
buddy, a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, you painted some pictures for me that really made it clear, like, hey, I screwed up picking a quarterback, but
they could be the same player.
Exactly. And so whereas I love your first 6 picks. They're not my favorite, but you smashed the second half of this draft.
This is not a PC environment. You can rip him up if you want. You said you don't love his first 6 picks. Well, half of them are Kupp, Diggs, Mike Williams.
Right. I don't love half of the first 6 picks, but okay. I love the second half of this dude's draft. And look, I've said it before, and I'm going to reiterate it. The way he pulled off the Hopkins in the 7th is the way you want to do it. He is rock solid at wide receiver. He's not going to have to want for a starter. And then you get a possibly top 15 wide receiver returning to you and after 6 weeks. Forget about it. That dude's flex and wide receivers are going to be dangerous.
All right, so now you're trying to just make up a little bit. Dalton Schultz in the 8th. We have not seen Schultz going after Hawkinson and Goddard in a long time.
Right.
Is that just this draft, or do you think that's the new norm?
Oh, if that's the new norm, I need to reconfigure who I'm looking at tight end because Dalton Schultz is going to be volume driven.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm actually good with Jared's first 5. I think Connor and Jacobs give you a nice volume floor with the receivers that you got. So, Jared, I like you more this draft than Dustin did. There's been drafts that he liked you more. Dustin, close it out for us. Thank you guys for coming to the show. It was a lot of fun. We probably will have 1 or 2 more mock draft shows. That's about it, and then it's the real deal. Next time you see us on Tuesday night, we will have our home league draft complete. Hopefully both of us are very happy, but we will have bones to pick live on the show with who sniped who and who it was.
Absolutely.
Appreciate y'all coming by.
Thank you all for hopping in. We will be back on Tuesday. And Trav, I just want to let them know who's going to be joining us for that show. It is the one and only Hall of Fame worthy, top-notch superstar in the fantasy football community for a very long time, Yahoo Fantasy's own Scott Pianowski, and he's going to be spitting some facts at us, talking about all the things he's been writing about all offseason. We're going to ask him some great questions, get you guys some really great insight, so make sure you're staying tuned for that Tuesday night episode. With that being said, y'all, that's been a mock draft for us. Episode 64 in the books. Thanks so much for stopping by. And as always, losing sucks. Don't do it.